I mean, I always look for movies that make me forget about what's going on in life. I have a very busy life, super stressed out with three teenage children and work. So I liked this movie. Fun movie to me because I don't remember the movies a lot, like unless I love it.
Escapism is the what you're looking
Closer
for.
and closer, right? As the teenager starts to grow, like how are they going to meld that to me? That I think the writer thought that through too much.
Now, for me, this was superhero porn from the beginning. Shazam origin stories are always better. Again, a pure escapism, pure popcorn type movie. There was little thinking about it. Did not stimulate. Art should be challenging and make you think about it, how to create a better world. This made me think nothing about running to the exits at certain points, but I was stuck in the middle of the row, so I couldn't leave.
Amateur Girl and Fanboy present the Big Bad Glass Movie Review. David Sandberg, the director of both Shazam movies, has a popular YouTube channel that goes by what name? Stick around until the end of our reel to find out.
Hi, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Ooh.
I'm Amateur Girl, and this is
Fanboy from Chiang Mai, Thailand. So we're out here in Chiang Mai, and she's in Amateur Girls in California, and we like to talk about movies. And today we'll be talking about Shazam 2, The Fury of the Gods. And at first, I really had nothing to say, but I just looked at it as more superhero porn, right? Created by DC, which likes to do this kind of but let me talk about it later because I can go on and on. So let's get Amateur Girls her thoughts on Shazam.
I always look for movies that make me forget about what's going on in life. I have a very busy life, super stressed out with teenage children and work. So I liked this movie. It helped me. I just was able to sit in the audience and just relax. Love Zachary Levi, Adam Brody, great actor in this film. Lucy Liu, she's super strong. Love seeing her again. And then Helen Mirren, I love seeing her, an older, strong woman portrayed on screen. I really enjoyed that. Fun movie to me because I don't remember the movies a lot, like unless I love it.
Escapism is what you're looking for, the word.
Yes, escapism. I wrote a paper on that in high school. That movies, we go to escape our lives. And so that's why I go to the movies. So it was a great film, but I don't remember it already. It's been a week and I don't remember. I remember like some parts, but honestly, it all kind of blends in with all the other ones. Shazam 1 was so much better. But I still did enjoy Shazam 2. I will say, as I conclude, that I kept wondering, though, as the ages become closer and closer, right, as the teenager starts to grow, like, how are they going to meld that to me? That I think the writer thought that through too much. Because at some point, he's not going to be a young teenage boy anymore, or a young girl, so how does that work? I kept thinking about that.
That's an excellent question because I don't know anything about the comic books. I went to see this with our brother in Tokyo after we visited the Godzilla statue. So it was kind of an interesting little afternoon. The theater completely packed with Japanese. It was a popular, of course, but it was in a smaller theater. I didn't get to see it on a big theater. So that being said, I just looked at the storyline. Now, for me, this was superhero porn from the beginning. Shazam origin stories are always better. This wasn't the Shazam origin story was better, and origin stories in general usually stronger than their sequels, right? So this was a pure escapism, pure popcorn type movie. There was little thinking about it. Did not stimulate. Art should be so this would not be considered art, but art should be challenging and make you think about it, how to create a better world. This made me think nothing about running to the exits at certain points, but I was stuck in the middle of the row, so I couldn't leave. But other than that, yeah, pure escapism. what I did get out of it is where are they gonna, like you said, where are they gonna go with this? And what I saw was they're trying to tie it in with Suicide Squad because they started using profanity. There were some ties to Suicide Squad, and also the show Peacemaker on HBO, if you watch that show, which is a Suicide Squad spinoff. So somehow I think they're going to connect those two worlds. So I think that's what they're reaching for. I think this was a pretty big hit. I don't know. I didn't really look at the box office, but I think, like I said, in Japan, the theater was full, but it was a small theater. I don't know. What was your theater like? Just for a quick feel,
Almost full.
without knowing what the box office was. Yeah. So I had to think about it, but then I started thinking about the whole altered ego thing. Like Superman and Batman are not alter egos. They are their daily life is the altered ego, like the Bruce Wayne or the Clark Kent. But they haven't really transitioned from anything. They're still Clark Kent's still Superman under his suit, right? I mean, when he's walking around being a reporter, he's still Superman.
Right.
Batman is still Batman, even if he's Bruce Wayne. Right? These are the our original DC superheroes. Now Shazam is a whole different thing. He was created out of some magical spell or something, right? So he's been altered in a different way, and which is kind of an interesting thought, to think about, and all those other characters in there. Other than that, I just really couldn't grasp anything interesting about the movie. Now the director was interesting. Evidently, he was diagnosed as autistic when he was young, and he has really created his own career. I guess like a lot of directors do, create their own careers. I mean, you really have to get to where you want to go. You have to really go about it. He was basically started out as a YouTuber like 15 years ago. He made little pornographic. I call it pornographic because I watched a few. They're not like hard pornographic, but they're pretty. He's Swedish, and they're pretty hardcore. Like the first one I watched, and I don't want to offend anybody, so this is a what do they call it? A viewer alert. To take any children out of the room if there are actually any children listening to us who would even consider listening to us. That one of his first ones was an animation about a guy with a small penis and a woman with a large vagina, and can they find true love? That's it. And then he did a bunch of these kind of weird sex oriented animations that I guess were pretty popular on Swedish YouTube, and then I guess they've translated them into English, and now you can watch some of them in English. And then he went into horror, and he said he always wanted to do horror sci-fi. Worked in a video store. He made little movies with his dad's VHS camera, etc. So he started making little horror things, and you can watch like 14-second horror. You can watch them on his YouTube channel called Pony Smasher. And so he's got many of these little horror shorts that he made with his first wife. And from that, somehow he got recognized, and he made for Blumhouse or whatever that horror, James Wan, the Saw guys. He made Lights Out, which I have yet to see. I kind of want to see it now. Huge hit. Made for $5 million, made over $145 million box office. So a smash hit.
Wow.
Budget wise, and they're going to do Lights Out. They're talking about Lights Out too. Then somehow DC got him in to do this. So great, quite the success story coming from YouTube, right? Fantastic. So, and then we get, and he's also suffers from depression. I wanted to talk about the mental issues of all these people in this movie because they're very open about it. It comes to Zachary Levi also is very open about his mental issues. I like to push this guy. One, he's a fantastic talent, much more talented. He shouldn't even be in a movie like this. I mean, he's pretty much makes the movie, right, because of his talent.
Right.
He's done Broadway. He sings. He's from Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana. Lives in Austin. He's a Christian. Just a tremendous talent. Talks about his mental issues, and he's suicidal. He says, So wow, all these crazy stuff. But he always gives it up to Jesus. And he asks, where's all this talent come from? It comes from Jesus, he says. So he's been nominated for a Tony Award. So he's got He's a tremendous talent. And I watched him in a movie called American Underdog, and I thought was just fantastic. Where he plays this football player that comes up from nothing. And I highly recommend that movie over this one. If you had don't see Shazam, folks, go see American Underdog. It's a great movie. It's a truly great movie that you people never even heard of it before. So it's a fantastic movie. What else about the guy? He's just, he's definitely going to be, and he's been in some other things that were big hits that I had teen shows that I don't know anything about. So I think that's how he got into the Shazam universe, because of his work when he was for teenage type shows. So now is he going to be happy with this whole thing going, since he's a Christian, going into the Suicide Squad universe, which is much more more hardcore, right? It's like Deadpool kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting if he's going to stick with it or not. Yeah, but without him, you're not going to have a Shazam, right? Because he is Shazam, right? It'd be crazy. Now the movie itself, the cast was very strong, great cast.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It was just put there to, it had nothing to progress the whole Shazam story.
No.
Other than tying him in, to tie him into Wonder Woman. That was like the most exciting part of the movie when she walks under the screen. It's like it was, right?
Yeah.
They teased you with it through the whole movie, and then finally she shows up, and it's like it was just one of these kind of. So I've left my water today because I just got back from a 2-week trip to Tokyo, so I'm a little bit behind the times. So, but with my water review, I would give it 45%, just because I was amused at certain parts. I enjoyed the girl and the unicorn yelling "mother," and then to get cut off, right? So you see where they're heading toward this kind of more of a adult type landscape, right? Than they were in the first one. But other than that, that's pretty much my review. I can't really think of much else that it did for me, other than the whole altered ego thing, like altered human. Looking at, again, this whole group, they're trying to rip off the Avengers again, kind of, with this group of kids. I do enjoy that they use these, these kind of underdogs. That seems to be a theme in this actor's Zach Levi's life. Oh, and speaking of, Zachary Levi, you look at him, you think he's Jewish, right? And and with that name, Zachary Levi, it's like a Jewish name.
The name for sure.
And he's actually been denied roles because they think he's too Jewish, and he's not Jewish at all. Because people think he is. So producers have like, nah, you can't get the part because you're too Jewish. So it's like, it makes no sense, but it's funny. But so that has come up in his career, right?
Yeah, I guess like they hear his name and then they just fill in the blanks just by his name.
I don't know. I mean, he's got a quite a long resume already. He's not a slacker. He's quite, he's done a lot of stuff, and I see him doing a lot more in his career. As long as he stays away from suicide and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. No, he is very memorable for sure, and very likable.
And if you see American Underdog, you will go, "Oh my God, what a great movie!" That's a very, very good movie. I can't recommend it highly enough. Very inspirational. But other than that, that's all I have to say about Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I hope they do better. I love Mark Strong, who's who was in the first one, and he's also came up in the little spoiler at the end of or teaser at the end of the movie, right? In the jail cell. So hopefully he'll be back, as his nemesis. So if they go into the next story, so hopefully Shazam 3 will just be a better a better deal. So other than that, anything else about Shazam and the DC universe? Yeah, DC once again strikes like rock, or while they're digging for gold. So I'm sorry. I keep waiting. I love DC. It's my original, before Marvel came around, before Fantastic Four, which I think I had Fantastic Four 1 as a comic book when I was a kid. And a lot of other Marvels, Batman and Superman were the guys, right? They were the guys, they were the comic books to read. But you know, so DC is a great franchise, you know, great comic book, but they're just not doing themselves a service. But again, that's just me. Many people might love the movie. So other than that, that's Fanboy signing out. And Amateur Girl, good night.
David Sandberg's YouTube channel is named Pony Smasher. Check it out.